anyone who saw the recent video that was posted of the Dharma talk that I gave at Muddy Waters Zen Center and remembered older videos may have been a little confused by the apparent change of wardrobe and thought maybe it meant something in terms of a different status. It doesn't. It's just literally a wardrobe change. In the past, I was wearing an item over the top of my robe that looked like this, kind of a bib thing with a strap around the top, and now I have a little different robe. All that means is that I'm still a Dharma teacher in the Taego order, and the Taego order Dharma teachers decided to redesign the vestments, the garments that Dharma teachers wear. That's all it means. It doesn't mean any big change in status or promotion or anything like that. But I did think maybe it presented an opportunity to talk a little bit about kind of the symbolism of this sort of thing. I made a video previously about all the gray and what the gray means, and if you're interested, you can take a look at that. It's on the YouTube feed and the Facebook feed for the Belmont Zen Center. But this red part, what's the deal with this sort of thing? The original name for this, if you go back to Sanskrit in India, was a kasaya, which literally means dyed, and really was a reference to the color that it was dyed, but it came to be sort of the word that's used for the garment. In the early Buddhist community, what the Buddha had his followers do was to make their own very simple garments out of basically scrounged fabric. They would go through trash heaps and take pieces of unburned burial, shrouds for dead bodies, and clean them and wash them and sew them up into probably what was more kind of a crazy quilt, kind of a design into a big piece of cloth, and then dye it kind of a nondescript, dull color. And that was what they would wear. So all of their clothing was made from kind of scraps and rags and pieces of cloth that weren't good for anything else, and then sewn together into a patchwork design. And that got passed down as Buddhism grew and changed and went from one place to another. But the idea of a patchwork robe remained. And so even today, in most Buddhist lineages that have monks and nuns, that have monastics, the garments the monastics wear, or at least the sort of most obvious garment, is a patchwork cloth. Typically they're 5, 7, or 9 strips of patches sewn together. More strips means sort of higher promotion. Novices have 5, and as you kind of become more senior and advanced, you get a bigger robe, you get a longer robe, 5, 7, 9 strips. And in different countries and in different lineages, they use different colors for the cloth and different kinds of materials for the cloth, depending on the local climate and local plants and various other things like that. In China, this is called a jiasha. In Japan, it's called a kesa or okesa, depending on the lineage. And in Korea, which is the lineage that I'm associated with, it's called a kasa. So a monk's or nun's kasa in Korean Buddhism is red in the case of Taego. That's what the color means, the Taego order. He wears the red. Again, 5, 7, or 9 strips, and for very senior monks, sometimes they get more attractive, more complicated gold brocades and various other things of that sort instead. I'm not a monk. I'm a Dharma teacher, which is why, again, in the past, we wore these kind of very small, kind of bib-like garments, which are intended to be sort of a miniature version of the Buddha's robe. But now Dharma teachers in my order wear something that looks more like a kasa that a monk or nun would wear, but it's not actually a patchwork. This is actually one big piece of material with just a border sewn around the edge and some patches that have some symbolic meaning that are sewn on it. But it's just one big piece of material, not a bunch of strips of patches, which would be the design for a monk or nun's robe. So everything has, in most, as is true in most religious traditions, most things have some symbolic meaning. So there's a very long history to these kinds of garments, and they're intended to remind the wearer of their connection to the lineage, but also communicate to other people who are seeing them part of the community, the meaning of the community that they're associated with. That's just a little bit of background and history about what these garments are and where they come from and what they mean, in case anyone was curious. I'm still looking forward to the time here at the Belmont Zen Center when we'll be able to start having in-person meetings. Hopefully that'll be happening here late summer, early fall. If you come here to the local meditation hall that we've created here in St. Clairsville, Ohio, you'll see, for anyone who's not familiar with things and is new to things, we've got a lot of little labels on things and various stuff, and are more than happy to explain and answer questions. And obviously for most people in America, this is all very strange and unusual, and there's a lot of things that might be a little bit intimidating or scary, and it shouldn't be that way at all. So if you're curious, if you're interested, you're more than welcome at this point to, drop me an email, give me a call. All that kind of information's on the website for the Belmont Zen Center, belmontzen.org. And again, hopefully before a couple more months, maybe here, we'll actually be able to start having services locally. And I look forward to that.